Oh my God. Hi, girlies.
Happy 420.
Happy 420. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Dad. Welcome.
Welcome.
We have Marc Levine joining us on a very special holiday. We're celebrating 420.
Beautiful.
Cheers.
Happy 420,
Cheers.
people.
And we're drinking can with two ends. This is a high boy, like a spin-off of a tall boy.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
And it's a really cute brand. I tried this brand like last year on a bachelorette trip, and it's really good. Like, have you ever tried other like edible drinks?
No.
They're not good.
I thought that my assumption is that they all taste like LaCroix.
I remember trying one back in the day, like maybe 10 years ago, or a little bit, maybe like 8, and it was just so weed tasting.
Oh.
And these taste like you're just drinking a soda.
It does.
Yeah, they're not really that bubbly, but they have 50 calories, 14 grams of carbohydrates, 13 grams of sugar.
That's less than a Coke.
Is it less than a Coke?
Much less than a Coke.
Oh, it still has sugar in it.
Yeah.
But these are new, and these are the Bring Me With You cans. So they're little packets that are infused. So this tall boy has 5 grams of THC. So it's like a nice edible. This has 16. Well, this might be for the full thing. Yeah. Oh, 2. Well, I was reading the full thing. Each packet has 2 milligrams of THC.
What was the whole thing?
The whole box has 16 because there's 8 of the packets in here, and then each packet has 4 milligrams of CBD. So if you want to get a little buzzed, but then have like the medical relaxation benefits, because this flavor we're drinking
Lemon lavender.
and this one is I don't want to say grapefruit. Wait, oh yeah, grapefruit rosemary.
Ooh.
And these are pretty good. No?
I'm not really into rosemary, but
Oh, it's
maybe
not,
in drink form.
yeah,
would be
but
good.
these are pretty good. So
Yeah.
cheers again.
Cheers. Happy 420,
Happy
everyone.
420.
We are so excited to have Jenny's dad, Marc, on to celebrate this occasion because Marc and Jenny are twins. In every single way, I feel like I'm hanging out with 2 Jennys, and I'm living for
That's
it.
so funny.
I love it so much.
So we are gonna go into like all of our past high stories.
Well, I want to get into a different past story first.
Oh,
I want to get into the first time the full screen thoughts met Marc Levine. Let me set the scene. Jenny is saying consistently, I want to say on a weekly basis, oh my gosh, my dad is known for his famous barbecue. He's known for his famous brisket. It became an inside joke because we'd always be like, Marc's famous brisket, Marc's famous whatever, because you always said like Marc's famous food that he makes. So we show up to Hanukkah and we are all looking forward to Marc's famous brisket that Jenny has been hyping up for the past month at this point. And we try it. It's incredible. The best brisket I've ever had. And I go up to Marc and your mom, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got to have Marc's famous brisket. It was so good. And your mom says, what? This is from Bristol Farms.
Oh, well.
And the illusion was shattered.
No, but
so I want to know, why were you lying?
okay. I wasn't lying. I thought it was a funny joke because I was saying like, my dad's famous brisket. He's gonna make the brisket like you never ever made brisket ever. But I thought because you always barbecued, like it's gonna be.
She was lying.
World renowned. I
was
wasn't lying.
lying.
I was joking.
I
It
am
was a
good
big
on
fat
the grill,
joke.
though. I do barbecue a lot.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Now I know
So
how to
is
actually.
there really Marc's famous barbecue is what you're saying?
It's famous because you use no seasoning. That's what I would say.
That's true. I like it natural.
What?
I'll put a little seasoning on after I cook the meat, but I don't cook it
Which
into the meat.
is not how you should barbecue.
Because then I decide what I like on it.
I always wondered why I didn't like steak growing up. I'd be like, it's like really chewy. It's okay. And then I realized, come to find out, that's how he likes it. It's not like how steak is actually supposed to be prepared.
So Mark's
But I put it as a
barbecue
joke
is,
on the Facebook invite to
It was
Hanukkah.
not a joke. We thought you were serious.
I know.
And so the illusion got shattered.
Sorry.
At Hanukkah,
It's all right.
But it's okay.
But I want to talk a little bit about 420 and what it means to us. But also, let's start off with like the origin story of 420.
Okay.
So 420 started in the Bay Area, and it was like these kids in high school, after school got out, and maybe like after school programs or whatever, like around 420, they would go and smoke weed. And then it caught on as like a phenomenon, and then people started celebrating the day April 20th as a thing. And like even where I went to college, like it was known as like one of the biggest like things on 420 in the country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I always think of UC Santa Cruz. They have like a huge 420
Yeah.
event, basically.
Like I have some stories about that. So that's what's really going on today is 420.
It's 420. We're taking a walk down memory lane and revisiting some of our funniest, weirdest, most embarrassing weed stories. And I'm excited.
Yeah. So Dad's going to help us. You're going to tell us some of your stories. But yeah, I mean, talking about 420, like I didn't even know people celebrated that until college.
My eyes are so weird right now.
Yeah, they're
Everything
pink.
looks really pink. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
We'll adjust.
How do mine look?
You look pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, like I didn't know 420 was a thing. I didn't really smoke in high school. So my first time ever smoking weed was on Halloween, like my sophomore year of high school. And I went to Amber's house for a Halloween party. And I remember they were like, okay, if you want to like smoke this, you can. But like they were really nervous because that year I hadn't had a seizure just because of stress.
Oh.
So they were like, they all let me smoke some of a joint. And then I sat down in a chair the rest of the party, like outside watching everybody. And everyone would be like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'd be like, yeah, I feel great. And then they were like, okay, are you okay? Like, do you feel weird? And I was like, no, I feel great. What are we doing after this? And they were like, what do you want to do? And I was like, can we go to In-N-Out? So I just sat in a chair the whole party.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you had a good experience. I feel like when I was first starting out and everyone was smoking weed for the first time, a lot of people said like they didn't feel anything the first time they smoked.
Probably because they didn't do it right.
Do you remember the first time you ever smoked in your whole life?
It was a long time ago, so I don't remember it very clearly, but I think I was around 16.
Okay.
And, I just kind of was curious about it. And so I tried it. And
That's it.
that's about it. Yeah,
You
I really can't
obviously
say
liked
much other
it.
than I didn't dislike it, and I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're like, this feels cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was an experience. It's like, it wasn't a bad experience. I've tried other things. That were bad experiences, and that wasn't. I guess I didn't have a lot to say about it. Other than it wasn't like I was sick and I threw up. Like I remember I got drunk one time on tequila when I was 18, and I remember that like it was yesterday because I was sick for 3 days. I drank so much,
I've
so I
heard
didn't
that
know
story a lot.
I didn't know any better, and so
Not good.
that was a bad experience, and that's why I don't like to drink.
Everybody has a good first time smoking experience, and I also feel like everyone has a bad first edible experience.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
The
What
edibles.
was your first time?
My first time was so I grew up in the Bay Area. Okay, so we
Bay
started
Area.
things a little.
So you didn't know that
early.
about 420? About your area?
No,
Oh.
no. But
But you grew up in where? Pleasanton?
mm-hmm.
Oh, I know Pleasanton.
Pleasanton, East Bay.
Yeah,
Bay,
East Bay.
East of Oakland.
Yep. So everybody there starts things very early. So people were smoking weed in like 5th grade when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I started my freshman year of high school when I was 13, which I feel like sounds crazy because now I'm thinking about how young 13-year-olds are. But I obviously really liked it. And so my friend and I were kind of like the pair that always smoked together. And she was like, I'm going to make weed brownies and I'm going to bring them to school tomorrow and we're going to do them. And I was like, okay. So she made Betty Crocker brownies and just sprinkled weed in the batter and baked it, brought them to school. And it was like during our break period and I ate one and I was like, I don't feel anything. Are you sure if you just mix it in the batter, it's going to like absorb? And she's like, I don't know. I don't feel anything either. Let's take another one. And so we each had another brownie. So I don't feel anything. The bell rings. I go to class. I go through my first class. Totally fine. I go to PE. It's ultimate Frisbee day, Frisbee golf or whatever. And so as I'm returning my Frisbee at the end, I start feeling really weird, like scared. And everything was kind of like moving around.
Oh, so it did work.
Yeah, but like 2 hours later. And so at that point, I kind of forgotten that I'd even taken it. So I was like, oh my God, I think this is the weed brownie. So I get changed. I go to lunch. I find my friend and she's like, oh my God, I was just in my geometry class and I couldn't even use my protractor. Like, I'm so high. We didn't realize that when you take an edible, it takes a little bit to kick in. So I ended up having to go to the nurse during my lunch period and I begged her to call my mom so that I could go home. And my mom picked me up and we went to McDonald's and I went home and watched Jerry Springer.
Did she know that you were high?
No. Because I told her
I want to go to McDonald's.
I was just like, I don't feel good. Can I get a McNugget? I don't know. But I told this story on TikTok like a couple years ago and she saw it then and was like, oh my God, I cannot believe you. But it was the worst. I didn't do edibles again for years and years and years and
What's happening to you over there?
Nothing. I'm just
stretching?
chilling. Yeah, stretching.
Okay.
Moving around.
You can't fall asleep on the podcast.
I'm not falling asleep.
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
very relaxed.
Are you serious?
Why can't you fall asleep?
Why do you mean? Why
That's a
can't
good
you fall
question.
asleep?
Why can't you?
It would be a spontaneous,
I will wake your ass up if you fall asleep on our podcast.
I'm not falling asleep, but, I could. You never know.
Sometimes I'm talking to him now and I look up and he's fucking asleep, snoring. And I'm like,
I wasn't snoring.
no,
I was
fall asleep right now?
No, but I was in very deep thought.
Oh, what were you thinking about? Were you not?
I know exactly what you're talking about. He's sitting up in a chair like this. He crosses his arms and he just slowly is just like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have long arms. What can I tell you?
What were you deep in thought about?
Just things in the past.
Anything?
His first edible story.
No, just the way I handle things, the way I interact with things. Just reviewing the memories.
Scorpio
of things.
moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can't
Reflective
relate.
moment. So it looks like I was asleep, but I wasn't. I was just
I saw you.
deep.
I know what happens. We're very similar. You yawn and then your eyes start to water, and then you start to scratch your head before it happens. Me, I start to slink down.
That's how Molly knows I'm going to sleep. She sees all those body movements. She goes, "Oh, he's ready to go. I'm going to go to sleep with him."
Great.
She always, you know how your dog. That's my daughter's dog.
They don't know that.
They know Molly. They've met Molly.
Oh yeah, they have.
Molly loves me. She's like, we're like that dog.
That's why she's not here, because if she was here, well, I didn't ask you, but I was going to ask you, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bring Molly because all she's going to do is bark at him to throw the ball.
See, she wants attention.
It's the ball
She
thing.
knows the men are weak.
Yeah, it's the ball thing for me. Like, that's why if she's chill and she's not trying to play and she'll just lay, then that's good.
Yeah, but ball is life.
Yeah.
Okay, so
She's good with the ball too. She can catch it off the bounce, catch it off the fly.
She is good. She was catching an ice cream cone yesterday.
Yeah, she's a
hunting
athlete.
dog.
She's
My
a
little
athlete.
hunting dog.
Yeah.
She's there's use. She's useful.
Yes,
If
yes,
we're
yes,
in
yes.
apocalypse and I'm like, go find food, she'll go get it.
Yeah, she definitely would,
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, well, before you get too deep in thought, Let's hear your first edible story. Or maybe give us your most memorable edible story.
Edibles are too powerful, and you have to be careful. And I remember I took too much the first time. I was like, and because like you're saying, you digest it, and you don't feel it right away. So nothing's happening, And then, boy, that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And you have to be in an environment where, because I was getting like an anxiety attack, I was in this environment where it was like too much. It was just a change, and it was too intense, everything, and
Yeah.
I didn't like that feeling, and ever since then, I don't really like to, consume it that way. And if I do, I take a very small amount first to see how it makes me feel. And I think it's very easy it's not a dangerous overdose, where you're going to have to be hospitalized or anything, but psychologically it can be uncomfortable,
yeah.
And
Well,
that's not a good thing,
So I went to Boulder in Colorado, which it was voted the #1 party school my freshman year in the country because of the 420 parties that they used to have. But I remember my senior year, a junior and a senior got arrested because they thought it would be funny for like their last class of the semester or like one of their last classes to bring brownies for everybody to have. And they had like a potluck. So they had a potluck of like people bringing food, and then they brought brownies, but they didn't tell anybody that it was laced. So everybody ate these brownies in the class, and they had no idea, and they were freaking out, and some of them went to the hospital. They were like, I'm hallucinating. I don't know what's going on.
Dare I say they need to be held accountable for doing that?
They got arrested.
Okay.
They got arrested for like
That's
drugging
harmful.
people, basically.
Yeah.
And don't do that. That's not good. But the first time that I ever ate an edible was like a homemade weed brownie too. And it was the week before 420, like freshman year in the dorms. People are like getting really excited for 420 because they're like, oh, we're in Boulder, like this is where it happens. I see you slinking off.
Doesn't mean
I'm gonna call you out.
That doesn't. If I'm not
I see
talking,
the
I
eyes
might.
shifting down. You know.
Well, if he's
right.
resting his eyes, he's resting his eyes.
If you fall asleep and I'm in the middle of talking about something,
I'm not falling asleep.
Okay.
Keep talking. You're confusing being relaxed and in a meditative state with sleeping. Sleeping would
very
be like
close.
Sleeping, yeah, it is. Sleeping would be like, and I'm out. I'm very coherent
we'll
and
see.
cognizant of the discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
Go like, let's all go like this for a second. Okay, great. Okay.
Face yoga, huh?
Yeah. Anyway.
I feel better.
See? Don't you?
I do feel better.
Do you feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, sit up. There you go.
Much better.
So anyway, so my freshman year, people are getting ready for 420. So like 420, when I was a freshman, sophomore, maybe even junior, like it would be droves of people, like over 100,000 people would show up to our quad, like in front of our library.
Oh my God.
And they would all light up on 420. It was like a big party.
On campus?
On campus because it was like a protest.
Oh.
It was a protest to get weed legalized. And so even people from Denver, like people who weren't even college kids, adults, like older people, they would come down to Boulder, to the Norland Quad in front of the library specifically because it's a big, like almost like, mall, like lawn. And so I remember people were like, yeah, we have to have our stuff. Like we got to have our stuff to have on the quad when we're all partying together. And so I remember people were like, yeah, do you want to buy like a Chiba Chew or a Duckadose? Which I will literally...
I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
Neither do I. What
A
are those?
Chiba Chew
and a Ducky Dose?
A Decadose. So a Chiba Chew is a literal size Tootsie Roll that is filled with 100 milligrams of weed. And people just pop that and eat it. And then a Decadose, I think, is 200 milligrams of weed, and it's also the size of a Tootsie Roll.
Okay, so just so the people know, a normal dose for an edible, 5 milligrams,
Like this,
10 tops.
This will make me. If I drank all of this, I'd be like, I'm pretty feeling high. I'm high. Like I'm pretty high. If I ate 10, I would be like, I'm really high. But back in my like early 20s, I could eat like maybe 25 milligrams when I was eating edibles a lot after college.
I can't even. I would spiral mentally.
It's shocking because I have a low tolerance like you do.
So it seems like the consensus here is edibles have not desirable, but if you use them, be very careful.
Yes.
Be very careful and
Low
know
dose, try to underdose it.
now it's easy to know what's in them. But back in my freshman year of college, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to eat that thing. I'm not going to eat a Decadose or a Chiba Chew. But my roommate, Sarah, she was like, well, I know a girl who like sells brownies. And I was like, okay, cool. What? I don't know why I thought we're not going to get like something that's crazy.
That's
intense.
the thing. You don't even know how much you're having when someone makes brownies.
And I don't even
Absolutely.
think they know.
Yeah,
You don't know.
absolutely.
They don't know unless they know. See, that's why I was surprised when you said that your friend made brownies with weed.
Yes.
Because
there were
usually-
chunks of weed in the brownie.
Yeah, usually it's you have to use like THC oil in the mix.
I think you create like a butter. Some
Yeah,
kind of
that's
butter.
what you're supposed to do. But of course,
You're in high school.
You know,
and
she's
I didn't even know
14.
that would work because some people were like, no, that doesn't work. But
it definitely works. Don't do it. It makes your brownie taste very minty, which is interesting.
Whoa.
But it definitely, I'm sure not all of it gets in there, but
yeah.
it's in there.
Well, okay. So then Sarah got these edibles. I remember going with her to pick them up, and it was the day before 420. So it's 419. And when we went to go buy them, her friend was like, do you want a sample? And me being the merch queen that I am, or the material girl, I was like,
She loves a sample.
I'll never say no to a sample. So I tried it. Feel fine in the car ride back to our dorm. It's like a movie. We get into the dorm, and I open the dorm hallway, and all of a sudden I feel like Alice in Wonderland, and my environment is so much smaller. Like, I just felt like I was
no.
enclosed. It
That's
was the
scary.
weirdest feeling. And then I remember feeling like I can't sit in my closet size of a dorm room because all the dorm rooms on my floor were different sizes, and we truly had the smallest room. I went into our friend's room who had like the biggest double, and I sat in there and I was very high, and I was like freaking out, and to the point where I was like petting their fridge in their room because I was like, this is really soft and comforting.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord. The mental anguish of taking too much is you
It
can't
is-
even compare it to anything. It's psychologically damaging, frankly.
It's,
Damaged by that.
I mean, I don't know. Have you ever had a dab? Do you know what a dab is?
Oh yeah. I used to do dabs all the time in college.
All the time?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so a dab is it's the like crystal.
It's
or
the
like
oil.
The oil. So it's like THC oil, but it's hard. Or well, you heat it up. So you heat
It's
it up
wax.
or wax, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wax. And then you heat it up with a torch. Like a literal torch.
Yeah.
Not like a lighter, a torch. And then you smoke it, and it gets you like 100 times more
It
high.
Gets you really
than
high.
hitting a bong.
Wow, that's high.
It's
That's
really
too much.
scary. I
Yeah.
thought Tupac was alive when I smoked dabs for the first time.
Yeah. Dabs that's not for the faint of heart. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you got to build up to that.
Who
Yeah,
did
no
you
thanks.
smoke that with?
I had a friend who lived in Bel Air. He was renting like someone's guest house or whatever. And he would just have us over, and we all lived in the dorm. So it was like the place that we could go and smoke freely. And
I nodded out that time.
feeling this was going to happen when you were on the 420 episode.
I got, I was deep in meditation there, and I got kind of.
That's not meditation. You like low-key look dead.
Just let him meditate. It's
All
fine.
right.
Deep thought creates relaxation and then sleep.
Let him relax. Yeah. Sleep is important.
I don't know why I was a little sleepy.
I wonder why.
I like naps. What can I do?
I mean, it's
It's afternoon,
3:30.
Yeah, it's 3:30.
almost.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But anyway, yeah, dabs are crazy.
Yeah.
People used to do. Did you ever do that thing where you fill up the 2-liter like soda bottle with water, and then
Smoke it as a bong?
no, it was called something, a gravity bong.
Oh, yes, with the mask.
No, it didn't have a. You could just smoke it out of the top of a 2-liter.
Oh, there were people who had like masks, and they would hit the weed and then hit it in the mask.
I've done that.
You've done that?
Okay, this is hilarious. I was on shrooms in a very uncomfortable situation. Like we had been in the hot tub, and my 2 friends, one of them was crying and the other one was like, they were having a moment. And I went downstairs to some random neighbor's apartment, and they were smoking with a gas mask, and they were like, "Do you want this?" And I was
Smoking with a gas. Wow.
Okay.
It's like, ooh.
It is so creepy. And I didn't know.
It must be a blast too.
No, it's not, because
Get
I
rid of
forgot.
No, but I mean strong.
Oh yes, it is a blast.
Like a blast of smoke, yeah.
I forgot
Nothing
to close.
escapes.
I forgot to close my eyes, and so when the smoke filled, everyone was like, "Bria, close your eyes."
Oh my god.
And I was too late, and it burned my eyes.
Oh my god. So, and you were already on mushrooms? So, whoa. Oh my god. I feel like you didn't get like a good experience because you
no,
were
it
already
was awful.
So are you guys experiencing a marijuana high right now?
Are you
Yes.
experiencing a marijuana high right now?
Well, I asked you first, but you want me to answer
Yeah.
first?
I think I know the answer.
What's the answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I am, but I'm not sure.
Look at his face.
I have my doubts.
You are good TV, Dad. Why are you not sure?
I just have my doubts. I have some certain doubts. I mean, I'm not.
You don't think we're getting you high?
Is there any way to objectively measure how high you are?
No,
Oh, this is a trick question. This is a dad philosophical question.
no, you can't.
So you just have to sort of go with the flow. And yeah, I think that's a good way to go. You really no way to measure.
I
There's no way.
know. Tricked us, kind of. That was funny.
Deep thoughts,
Deep
That's
thought.
what I was thinking over there.
Yeah.
See, if you get me speaking, I probably won't get sleepy,
Okay.
It gets me
Yeah.
Well,
rolling.
you know what that also means? Which is, you're a bad listener of other people's stories.
Oh, excuse me.
You get bored. Maybe that's just men, though.
I don't know.
I feel like if I'm talking and then
But I'm good TV, so that's good.
you are good TV.
Very good. Yeah.
But yeah, how do you know you're high? I feel like I know I'm high when I'm like, I can feel it here.
yeah, in the eyes.
And I feel like smiley.
I feel giggly.
How do you know if you're high?
I think if I feel good, and I don't feel, if I feel a balance, and I feel relaxed and I'm in a good environment or I don't feel stressed, it's good. But sometimes I've felt like I've been stimulated. And that's when I know I'm really high or wasted. They use the term to describe it. So I guess maybe I don't like to feel wasted, but I like to feel, like kind of alpha brain waves,
I don't think
not
I've
beta brain waves.
Yes,
Oh.
yes.
I've
higher
only ever
frequency.
seen you drunk
Never.
once.
I don't think I ever get
No,
drunk.
once. And I don't even know if you were that drunk, but you got some really strong drink in Hawaii, and Mom was like, I have to drive home. And then you're like, yeah, you do. And you were in the back, and you were
Yeah, it
just
might have been a
giggling.
strong Mai Tai or something. And she didn't.
Yeah.
She was going so slow. People were tailgating her, right?
Yeah, she can't drive very
She's
well.
not, she doesn't have good night division. And the road from Lahaina back to
But he was
White Lakes.
drunk off of like one drink.
Well, that was a strong drink, but
Yeah, it
I
was.
have a
Mai Tais are just a mix of different alcohols.
it was like 4 shots of
Yeah.
rum or something. I don't know, but I just don't tolerate it well, and don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you plan to consume at Jenny's wedding?
Weed?
That's a good question.
I will say it will be available.
Okay, I think I have to be careful because I'm going to be real visible.
You are the father of the bride.
Yeah, so maybe at the right time and place, I might imbibe something.
You know what?
But I'm
Or-
certainly not giving a speech, or anything
No.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I have to be really
I
focused.
said this to our best man, and I'm saying this to you, but I'm not really worried about you. It's more him. You cannot be drunk until you've done your speech.
Yeah, exactly.
And you won't.
Yeah.
But he will.
And so probably
could be.
if it's when we start dancing and the celebration
Yeah.
starts after the ceremonies.
You never know. There might be a joint going around during the Hava Nagila.
Well, I'm just
Oh my
saying,
God,
at the right
period.
time and place. That's what I think is important about.
You're going to go up in the chair.
Using marijuana is time and place.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want an airline pilot smoking, getting high. I mean,
What?
You wouldn't want an airline pilot being high.
You know what? That's like
That's an
Not
extreme.
high.
I mean, not high. Yeah, not
yeah.
high. That's
That
an extreme.
Denzel Washington movie where he was high on the plane.
And drinking.
Yeah.
Or he was drinking.
He was
more
high
than
and
smoking.
drinking.
Whatever he was doing, yeah, and yeah, it doesn't have to be marijuana. You want, there's time and place where you need to be clear. Driving, you should be,
Yeah.
not doing it.
Public speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
I have.
Where you need to really, sharp concentration.
So, no. Okay. So, my part 2 is the next day of the first time getting high
Okay, go on.
was the cake story. So, okay, the next day I wake up, I'm like, wow, that was a lot. So maybe I'll eat like half of what she told us to eat, because I think she said like 1 whole brownie. If you and my roommate were gonna split it, like we should eat half or a quarter. So I ate like half of what she told us. But then you go to the quad, there's all these people are passing around joints, like you're in this massive cloud of weed, like nothing I'd ever see. It looked like a Vietnam protest demonstration. Like it looked like what it looked like in history books, as like massive amounts of people show up and just smoke at 420 at the same time to protest that it was illegal at the time.
Oh my gosh.
So then I go back to the dorms, and I forgot that day. See, like some teachers were cool. They would cancel your tests if it was 420 and you had a test that day or whatever. Some teachers were not that cool. And the volunteer I am, similar to you, I was on like our dorm board, and we had a dorm board meeting that day. And I was like, I'm not going. And I like took a nap to be less high. And then someone like woke me up during my nap, and they were like, we have our meeting. And then I was so mad that I went to the meeting, and then they had this big huge chocolate cake. And I just walked up and I was like, hi. And I stuck my hand in the cake, took a piece like this big, ate it, and then walked back to my room, threw away the cake, and went back to sleep. And they were all like, what the fuck was that?
Wait. I'm sorry. What was the cake for?
I don't know. Maybe like something. I don't know. I was too high to know or ask. I just saw a big cake there, and I was like, whoops.
And they kept you after that?
Yeah. I was the best member.
Okay, so they were laughing.
I think people were laughing. I don't know. Oh, well. But, okay. So the next year at Boulder, on 420, the school paid, like, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to, like, have enough police, have ambulance, in case people got out of hand. Or
Okay,
had to go
so
to the
they
hospital.
knew that they were going to be there. They weren't trying to deter them.
Well, the second year that I was there, they were like, we're tired of paying all this money for all this law enforcement. Like, they had cops coming on, like, doom buggies. Like, cop cars I'd never, ever seen in my life being driven by cops. And yeah. And the second year, because I worked for our student council that planned like concerts and events on campus, the dean of the school was like, all right, this year, this is not going to happen. And we are going to have a free concert for students to come to instead of trashing our school. And so we had
Could you smoke at the concert?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It wasn't, they weren't saying
They weren't
don't.
advertising it, but they were just like, come to this free concert because they were trying to, what they were really trying to do was not have a bunch of people from Denver who are not students coming and trashing our school. So we have Wyclef Jean come perform. Who, I don't know if you know who that is.
What's his most popular song?
He's on that song with Shakira. I'm on tonight, but you know hips don't lie, and I'm starting to feel hips don't lie. You know that song? Okay,
I remember Hips Don't Lie.
I don't know it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. He is.
Sounds like a catchy tune though.
Her
It
Hips
is
Don't
pretty.
Lie.
Yeah. So he came to perform, and like I was in charge of like making sure his green room was set up and like doing security for the concert as like a member of the student council of this group. And about maybe 50 kids show up to this concert. I mean, our school paid like $1 million to have him there and like have a concert. And like maybe 100 kids out of like our 40,000 plus student body show up. And so where are all these kids? They're fucking pissed off on a different lawn because on the Norland Quad lawn, they had lined the entire grass field with fish fertilizer, so it reeked so bad, so people wouldn't go and smoke on the quad. And so people were like by the football stadium being angry, getting aggressive, and they send me and Wyclef Jean's brother to go break it up and go get more people, aka students, to come attend this concert. So I go on this golf cart and I have a megaphone and I'm like, free concert for Wyclef, free concert. And then some kid in the crowd sees me with a guy who looks like Wyclef Jean, but is his brother. And they are like, oh my God, that's Wyclef. And the crowd starts migrating to us. Like, it's like The Lion King. Like, you know, when you see the stampede, it looks like it's moving slow and then it's getting closer to you and it's like getting a lot faster. And I was like, oh my God. And so then someone else who was with us is driving the golf cart and they're like, all right, we got to go. And they like flip this thing around and I'm on the back of the seat with Wyclef's brother being like, come to the free concert. Like we tried to lure.
Oh my God.
We tried to lure them with this golf cart.
So they could go to the concert.
Only
when
students could go. You had to have your Buff One card to get in.
So that wasn't even really helping deter.
It did nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then the next year, I think it happened. But then my senior year, it didn't really happen because it was legal. It became legal my senior year. So, yeah, it was really interesting in college to watch it go from not legal to legal and then it becoming a huge deal to becoming just another day.
I don't even remember going to get weed in college when it was legal. I just remember getting it with a medical card, but it had to have been.
Did you always in college go buy weed with a medical card?
I think so.
That's how it was first legitimized, was a medical.
Yeah, but
application.
I think it was legalized when I was in college at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, you were a junior. Or no, California was after Colorado, and you went to UCLA. So I think maybe it became legal your senior year.
2016?
I think so.
Okay, that would make sense anyway.
Or 2015. Yeah. No, 2016, because it had to be on a election year, I think.
What was your preferred method of acquiring weed when you were at UCLA?
Just whoever was a connection, you know. I mean, because that's
You just had to find a random person, kind of.
Yeah. Well, I think I had somebody knew somebody, and I'd get it from him, and he'd pass it along. That's how I never had a direct connection, but I had friends who could get it, and that's kind of how it came out around.
And you just get what you get. I mean,
yeah, it's like today you walk in a dispensary, it's like, whoa, you have what do they call them? Budsters or baristas?
Bud tenders.
Bud tenders, excuse me. I'm like, whoa, this is a different world, and you just like, you have guidance. So that, I love the edibles for sleep, and.
What's your preferred method?
It was not legal back then, at all.
Yeah. What's your preferred method of consuming marijuana?
Probably, I like a chalice, like a glass tube. And I just put like a little pinch in there, that's why it lasts so long.
Oh, you like a one-hitter.
A one-hitter,
Well, it's 1 or 2 hits, and it's plenty. And, I mean, I don't spend a lot of money on this stuff.
He brought a one-hitter to my college graduation.
Yeah. I don't like burning it, and burning it up. I mean, I don't roll joints. I don't like burning paper, And so that's really my favorite way, It's very clean. It's very easy. It's very efficient.
He has one that's like in a wooden box.
Yeah, and you only need, I mean, the stuff today, you don't need much anyway,
No, you don't. You definitely don't.
And you feel okay,
Back in the full screen days, I feel like you were a bong girl.
Yeah.
Which, looking back at that those get
know.
you really high.
I know. It's crazy how...
Concentrated.
Yeah.
Well, so I really didn't smoke. Like, I went to Boulder, sure. I didn't really smoke even that much weed in college. I feel like I was always, like, busy and, like, did it, like, occasionally at parties. But I never really, like, not until my senior year did I, like, sit at home and smoke more weed. Because junior or sophomore year, I lived with someone who hated weed. And we never smoked in the apartment. Sometimes on the balcony we would, or like at parties. And then my junior year, half of it, I was in Australia. So then I guess I did do more smoking because in Australia, my roommate, he would boil bong water and drink it as tea. Or like he would sift it and then drain it, and then he would heat it in a teapot and then drink it.
That is,
and then he'd put a tea bag
disgusting.
in it. Like another flavor, but and like
so
those
gross.
people did that, yeah. But
did you ever drink that?
I might have tried a sip, maybe. It tasted like tea because, yeah,
stuff like that. I just think is how a lot of germs spread.
It's not necessary.
It's not.
But you remember when I lived in Westchester and West Lawn? We smoked a lot of weed there.
Yeah, that was a party
And there was a
house.
bong
What?
there. So, like, I didn't have a bong in college. We had a bong. Nico, I think, brought his bong to our house, and it lived there because he, like, kind of lived there. And then we had edibles all the time. So we were high a lot that first
my
year out of
God.
college. Yeah.
Also, I just have to qualify one thing I said before. I got too complicated. My favorite thing's a one-hitter. But have you seen those glass
Period.
Have you seen those glass tube one-hitters?
Yeah.
It's like really efficient. It's like a long glass tube with a little bowl at the front.
How do you prefer to smoke or consume?
I never do this, but I like a vape. I like a stizzy.
Yeah.
I just don't buy them. I don't know.
I thought that was interesting. It's the first time I've ever tried one.
It's really nice.
That's not true. Oh, a stizzy specifically?
Yeah, I've had those other things where they're like a pre-filled,
Yeah.
pipe.
Yeah.
Kind of a idea of the week that I have, because I feel like it's not really a secret. I don't know if you know this, but more and more chocolate mushrooms are becoming popular.
Yeah, I've heard the psilocybin mushrooms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, is it
Peyote.
What?
Isn't it? It's.
No.
Is peyote mushroom?
I think so. You're talking about the treatment.
Peyote's like a cactus.
Whatever it is, what is it like? It's getting more popular, chocolate. covers or
Like, so
something?
people will buy like little bars of chocolate and there's mushrooms in it. And so it's kind of like more dosable and like you can microdose off of them. So like it's kind of like the way I like to describe it. It's like the new Quaalude of our generation, because but hear me out.
Microdosing makes more sense than like, exploding something.
It's like you eat like half a little chocolate piece, and then you kind of feel like buzzed, but like you're like energy buzzed, and then people will have a drink or two and they're like drunk. Or
I'm still stuck on the chocolate mushrooms are the Quaaludes of our generation.
I mean, because
that was an interesting. That's a quotable comment right there.
That's a clip.
That's
right
quotable.
there.
that your generation would take Quaaludes, like one or two.
Yeah, but Quaaludes, like you take them and you don't remember what you did, right?
No. Somebody said that back in the day they would take one or two Quaaludes and have one or two beers and they would be drunk.
Who said that?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay, it will remain a secret.
As a former
But
Quaalude
would you agree?
specialist.
Yeah, I would agree.
Oh, wow.
Wait, what did I agree to? Would you repeat that?
Here, go ahead.
Repeat that, please.
Would you say that chocolate mushrooms are the Quaalude of today?
Oh,
In the sense that I described them like that.
Quaalude was a different drug. I sold them, for the manufacturer, so I had a lot of training on it. It's not a hallucinogenic like mushrooms. It was synthesized and formulated for a specific thing, which was to create sleep without barbiturates. Soporific, it's non-barbiturate soporific, but it had some side effects. Like it was great because you could drink 4 drinks and not have a heart attack. If you had a barbiturate, you could have a heart attack because it had beta stimulus, cells. So it was a very interesting drug, and the side effects were what people were taking it for, and it was safe. They could drink with it, so it could even potentiate it. So it would create a state of hypnosis and lower inhibitions. So it worked on areas of the brain that were, it was a really exotic drug if you took it for the side effects.
That was Hugh Hefner's thing.
Yeah, especially,
Yeah.
well, the
Loved
Wolf
the
of Wall
Quaalude.
Street too, especially because you could have 4 cocktails with it and make it stronger, because alcohol makes all drugs stronger. Like a pharmacochemist, will mix certain drugs with alcohol, 10%, to make it stronger,
Oh, wow.
So it had some interesting pharmacokinetics to it.
So you said it was like putting you in hypnosis. So you were easily convinced to do things when you were on Quaaludes.
Yeah, especially lowering inhibition. So it was a party drug. Sexual. They could create sexual inhibition.
Oh my God, that's why
and
you
that was
did
a
it.
side effect that wasn't what it was intended for.
So it was like a sexual stimulant?
Hugh Hefner used to call them thigh openers.
Yes, it would lower your. It was a really.
If that tells you what's going on.
It was a very interesting drug, and it got abused. It wasn't what it was intended for. A lot of drugs have side effects. It definitely had an interesting side effect to it, that people used.
I do not think that's
for
like
abuse.
a chocolate mushroom.
But what I will say, though, is if you microdose them, you're not going to hallucinate.
But what happens if you microdose it?
You get kind of like an edible high, but not like paranoid.
Yeah,
You're
you feel very happy.
You just feel really happy and giggly and smile. Like I will laugh uncontrollably on mushrooms.
See, you could, if you control the dose, like with Quaalude again, they made a 300 milligram, which was for non-barbiturate soporific sleeping pill, even though it had side effects. But then when Timothy Leary and some of the shrinks were using it to treat mental conditions, they made a 150 milligram size, which had, antidepressant, whatever they were using it for, but they made a lower dose for daytime sedation, which was barbiturates used to do that. And so it was a much better and safer drug than barbiturates. But it was, how would you control the mushroom? Does it come in a dose package where
Honestly, I feel like you
because that would help
can't
if you could
control it that well in a
could
chocolate.
control it, that would help.
It's more controllable. I guess what I'm getting at is so many people, I think, in our generation right now are eating chocolate mushrooms. People who never even smoked weed before, I've heard, will try a chocolate mushroom. Like, it's becoming less stigmatized because I think people have found like it has a lot of like
They use it for PTSD.
Yeah.
I've heard. I have
Yeah.
a friend of mine started to go into the business with it. He started using it. Somehow he treats stuff with it. And I don't know if he's a doctor. I don't know what it is. But he was telling me a few years ago this is becoming a trend for dealing with certain mental conditions. And
yeah.
I don't know much about
Wow.
it. I'd like to know more, but that could have an application. To me, just grabbing mushrooms, and eating them.
No, it's not like that.
Yeah.
That would be kind of weird. And that's what a lot of people's experiences are.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like the kid who made the brownies or something. We were talking about stuff that doesn't have, you don't know what
Yeah,
the dose
you don't know
is,
what's in brownies. Weed brownies.
You need to, like, the FDA would never let something out.
the-
Here's
yeah.
a drug,
Right.
Well, but
yeah.
it's
Go
kinda
try
like,
it,
It's
We
kind of
don't know
like
how
the
much is in it.
stuffing of mushrooms in your face is equivalent to buying that brownie that you don't know how much is in it. But what I'm
Exactly.
saying is because now it's kind of following the trend of marijuana becoming legalized, do we ever think that like mushrooms will become like, will you be able to go buy mushrooms or buy chocolate mushrooms in a dispensary?
Who knows? You never know what the trends hold. Right now, it's sort of an unknown quantity, and it's not in that distribution pipeline. But I don't know. I don't know much about it. I'd have to really delve into it. But it seems like it has some level of social acceptance that it never had before, and maybe there are some uses. And that's generally how things evolve and change. I think right now it's an unknown for the masses, but I hear little snippets of it. I mean, if it's an effective thing for PTSD or something or certain conditions, that's something to take note of,
I definitely think it's becoming more common to hear about people taking or microdosing or
Yeah.
taking mushrooms and stuff. So I feel like the trajectory is very similar to the weed trajectory.
I've heard we may see it on the ballot to legalize it, and I think
Oh.
it just
State
be
or federal?
state. And I think I'd have to double check, but I think Oregon just legalized it.
Wow. It's happening. It's all happening.
But I think in a party setting, it's fun to have, and it's way more fun to me than eating an edible.
Edibles are a little much.
But edible is like, okay, I'm going to eat an edible probably if I need to help fall asleep. A chocolate mushroom I'm going to eat if like we're going to a party. It's kind of wild.
Well, that
Yeah.
Camino formula for sleep is uncanny. It's
Yes, it's
quite
very
a sleeping
good.
formula, and you don't feel all dragged up.
No.
Really high. You don't feel it in the morning. It just, I don't know. There's some stuff in there. I think certain ingredients when you mix them are synergistic, and together they have an effect that they didn't have. It's like mixing paint, that they didn't have if they were separate. And I think there's
True.
something synergistic in their formula that really promotes sleep.
Yep, I agree. Although one time I did take the Caminos and I fell asleep, everything was great, and then I woke up in the middle of the night and I was extremely high, uncomfortably so.
Camino?
Yeah.
Is it the sleeping
Oh,
formula?
I wonder
Yeah.
why you woke up.
I don't know why I woke up. It's so weird.
It probably wasn't that. It probably was something that could have caused it, and maybe you were sensitive to it. It could have been noisy, or
Yeah, something like that.
but
But for
that's-
whatever reason,
it could have been. I've never had it bad. When I take that, it's like, wow, you go to sleep,
right.
but it is a lot more expensive.
Yeah, that's
It's
tough.
really refreshing,
I know. Imagine it like in a cooler at the beach.
Face it to the camera.
Yeah, and
you
a
go.
cooler would be too nice. It's got that nice
Yes.
lemony freshness to it. That's
Lemon lavender. And
is easy on the palate.
I don't know if you noticed,
sure
but
is.
I closed mine because I'm clumsy. So the nice thing, like unlike a soda, is you can reopen it
Yeah, that's cool,
if you want to drink it.
and
Wow.
it's childproof.
Beautiful. We love it. Thank you, Can, for being who you are.
And if you want to sponsor us, just slide right into
Here's
those
to the
DMs.
cans.
Here's
To the can.
And happy 420.
And
Amen.
if you would like to follow us, we're really bad at talking about following us. But if you would like to follow us, where can they follow us, Bria?
At High Girlies Pod on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube.
So
And we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeart.
well,
Wow,
We're all over the place.
You're super bad. You're nationwide.
We aren't.
We're worldwide.
worldwide.
You're worldwide. You're right. You're past nationwide. You're international.
would you like to promote
Worldwide.
anything, Dad?
Peace and goodwill on earth among all human beings. Are we
Yeah.
still on the air?
We're going to get off the
We're
air.
going to get off.
Oh, okay. I thought we signed off already, but no, you gotta go buy girlies or something.
Yeah,
right?
bye, girlies.
I'm getting it.
You
See,
want to
I've
do it
learned.
with us?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I'm part of the cast.
Happy 420. Celebrate safely. And with that, bye, girlies.
Bye, girlies.